Okay, so what my plan is I have a fuel tank off of a truck, and I'm going to put an inlet flue. This here is 4 inches. On this side, it's going to be 6 for the exhaust. So this is going to be my pump over here, and then throughout this tank there's going to be a bunch of pipes that I weld through, something like that, that I'm going to blow air through from the backside to extract heat from this burn chamber. So I'm going to need to weld these the flue pipes on, and then weld these on both sides to seal the burn chamber so I don't get exhaust coming into the room. So I figured before I actually do this, I'm gonna get some practice welding to make sure that I'm up to speed on what I'm doing. So if you watch Whistling Diesel on YouTube, you know he did a fantastic tutorial on MIG welding on there. I mean, it's great, but he didn't do anything on stick, so I think I know what I'm doing, but we'll see how it goes. A lot of people say you're supposed to use a helmet. Like, I don't see what the point of this is. I mean, I don't get it. So we're just not going to do that. Put that over there. So what you do, as far as I know, you put your rod right there where you want your joint to be, and you gotta apply some force to get that metal to jump over to your material, or your material you want to weld together. So this is what I've got. We'll see how it goes. Give that one more try. Maybe a steeper drag angle. Start over here. Okay, I don't know quite what I'm doing wrong, but I got one more idea up my sleeve. Might try using one of these. I know what they make these things for clamping on your welding rods, and I figured they make this funny shape for a reason. So maybe this is the trick. Let's see how it goes. One more try. Well, for some reason, it's not working with this material, so I'm guessing it'll probably work on the material I'm going to use for the furnace. So I'm just gonna go ahead and do that. And we'll see. So this is the furnace that I built. I didn't get any footage of me actually doing it because I figured that was just boring and just time consuming. You don't want to watch that. But the welding worked out pretty good. Could be better, but I'd say that's pretty quality for the technique I was using. So my flue just goes out the wall there. On this side I have a furnace blower going into a half of a drum that I welded on there to direct all that air through the pipes. This is my oil pump / combustion blower. I have a gauge on there. I've been running about 120 pounds. This is the ignition transformer. This is the oil gear pump. This is the inlet, and then this is a 2-pipe system, so it purges by itself. Or yeah, exactly. You don't have to worry about air getting in there because it'll just go back into the line and then up to the tank. I have an inline filter and then a ball valve before my tank. It's a pretty small tank. I might upgrade that. It's only 6 gallon, but mounted some switches on the wall. This one is the furnace blower. This one's the ignition spark, and this is the oil pump and combustion blower. So it works pretty good if you have the right fuel in it. All you got to do is flip the switch and it comes on. You can hear it when it ignites, so you know if it's actually burning or if you're just dumping oil in there. So what I usually do is turn the spark on first, and you can hear that, and then I'll turn the oil pump on. So there's a lot of flutter in there. I'm probably going to add a needle valve right here so that I can close that off and just save my gauge, because that's just going to ruin that gauge. So, but it's running right now. You can hear the tone get different when it ignited, so yeah, it's getting warm. So I usually wait a minute or so, let the burn chamber heat up, and then come flip my rudder blower on. And it really blows a lot of air out, and it gets hot, so it really heats this place pretty quick. A drill chuck in there, just plugging that hole. I'm thinking about using this hole to add another blower, because I'd like to add air to this thing. Sometimes it burns a little smoky, and I want to be able to force more air in there, because this blower, this oil pump and the combustion blower run off the same motor, so there's not really any change in the speeds independently there. So you get what you get there. So I'll go ahead and turn it off. So I turn these two off first, which I don't really need 2 switches. They really always turn off and on at the same time. This is the one that needs at least a delay off, just because when you shut it down, the furnace is hot. You want that blower to keep running and get more heat out of there and cool it off. So it's not real hot right now, so I'm gonna turn that off. The next step for me is I'm gonna add electronic controls to this thing, so that I can just set a temperature and have it kick on and off, and automatically do the delay off of the blower there. And also in here, this little deal here is a flame sensor. So I'm going to use that to add safety, make that an input to my controls. And so if the burn chamber's hot and it's pumping oil and it's not igniting, then I want it to shut down, because that gets kind of dangerous, because you're vaporizing that oil, and then as soon as it sparks, it detonates and blows everything apart. Totally hasn't happened to me or anything, but yeah. I'm not sure yet what I'm going to do on the controls. So I work for a controls company during the day and get a lot of experience working with different companies, so I think I got a pretty good idea of what controls I'm going to get, so I'm going to get on that next. Okay, so I gave some thought to the automation system that I'm going to put on this furnace, and I came up with this B&R Automation PC. That's what this is here.
Anforderungen nach lüfterlosen Systemen Rechnung tragen, als auch die Verwendung von High-End-Prozessoren erlauben.
This computer here they're about 3,000 to 4,000 new, but I got this one for about $600, so it's pretty good deal. I got this. I also got a screen for it. Got this screen, and this is a touch screen, so that I'll be able to mount this on the wall and enter temperature set points, furnace temperature, like blower, when the blower comes on, set points like that, and other variables like if I want to manually turn on devices and stuff like that. So this also, just this screen is about the same price as that, $3,000 to $4,000, but I got this one, $700-800. They assured me that it was working. Said totally working, so that's good. So, well, that is unfortunate, folks. Yeah, I'm definitely not spending another $1,400 for another automation system, so we're going to figure out a cheaper way to do this. So I found a cheaper way to do the controls on here. What I ended up going with is a Arduino. So I've got my Arduino in there and 3 relays, a thermocouple amplifier, and over here is a temperature sensor for just room temperature. Made a change down here. I added this preheater here to try to burn fuels with a higher flash point without mixing as much diesel in there, but I had it mounted down here, and the issue I ran into is that the heater boiled the fuel so fast, and it created that vapor in there, and then the vapor got in the gear pump and it just wouldn't pump. And so I reoriented it up here, so now when it creates the vapor, they just go up the tube and into the tank. So that's working. It heats the fuel, but it doesn't really make as much of a difference as I had hoped, because after the heater, it has to go through all these lines. So by the time it gets into the furnace, it's cooled off significantly. So what it really needs is a heater right at the tip there to heat the oil as it's coming out. So I don't know what I'm going to do with that yet. It's kind of just sitting there for now. Also added a needle valve on my gauge so I can take the flutter out of that. Over here is the program. So this is where I set my room temperature set points and furnace blower temperature set points. This is the current readout. So the furnace was running not too long ago. It's still at 100 degrees, and as soon as the room gets down to 50, that's when I have it set to kick on. So it kicks on at 50 and takes it up to 60 and then shuts off at that point. So when this drops a little more, I'll get a shot of it coming on, and look at that gauge. So we're 0.18 degrees away from it starting. So just a second here. Should kick these relays on. The lights come on the relays when they come on, so you'll be able to see that. I wouldn't have been able to do any of this without help from my buddy Alec. He's a professional genius on all this stuff, so I want to give a thanks to him on all this. So now it's running. Gauge is actually pretty steady right now. So yeah, there's no flutter in there anymore. As soon as the temperature here, that's my thermocouple, soon as that reaches 200 or 225, I can't remember what I programmed in, but that blower back there will kick on, and then after this thing shuts off, that blower will continue to run until the temperature drops down below that set point. So I graphed the data. This line here is room temperature and this here is furnace temperature. So you can see it comes on when the room temperature reaches that 50, and then this is the point it shut off right here, right when room temperature reached 60.